This is Andre Banks coming today from Banks Credit Chat, and we've all heard about the car Carmageddon and car apocalypse that's been happening with repossessions and stuff like that. So how is credit really being reflected to that with the car dealerships and how they're having issues in terms of obtaining credit? And I had to learn this when I was listening to and talking to a couple of car dealers and a lot of salesmen that's over there. And the old ratio they used to put it was a term getting behinds and asses in seats is no longer just the model anymore. A lot of lenders are, again, I didn't even know how that industry worked until I got recently acclimated by listening to a lot of these sales individuals and people who actually a car dealer who small car dealership and how much trouble he's been having because of just how the mechanics work. And I'm kind of rambling on about it, but essentially, lenders have them on the hook for, when they provide these subprime loans. In fact, they're actually on the hook for the first three payments. So if people have gotten cars. I've even seen so many cars, especially in the last couple of years, because of all the stimulus checks and everything that was given out. The repossession started coming back out. So banks became much more. The banks were just taking massive amount of losses, which then reflected on the car dealers. So they're becoming much more stricter, even though they have these commercials showing these still particularly great rates and stuff like that in some cases, how they're going about things. And the longer the ass in seats is becoming a policy. They're really trying to check things out and, put more of a clamp on. One that I didn't know that banks, one of the things that I found out, the banks actually charge dealers to buy deals. If they buy a deal from them, they actually charge the dealer for that. Most car dealerships function strictly on debt. They really, and the margins are not as high as I thought they would be. Just listening to these salesmen and having this inside information from this car dealer. If you're and if they provide the subprime loans in here, they have a payment recourse of 1 to 3 payments. So that means if you run out on them and they're really, I think Drive Time has the payment you get, no matter your credit score and all this other nonsense, they're on the hook for those, 1 to 3 payments if you don't make them. So a lot of people have just been getting the car, getting themselves running up these miles, and just getting rid of it, and they were able to get away with that because during a couple of years ago during the pandemic. That is no longer the case. So it's becoming much more stricter for you to get a car loan, especially for terms that you're looking for. And we're already seeing how high, the banks, the car dealers were not lowering the amounts for the cars, even though they're taking massive losses, is because it's just the relationship they have with the banks itself. And it's just new information for me to find out. I'm trying to share it here. I'm not doing probably not the best job in terms of that, but just know that when you go inside a car dealership, there, it's no longer they're still trying to get your business, but it's a lot harder, and everything is becoming much more stricter in terms of everything that you're doing, especially when it comes to obtaining credit. So a couple of key points to remember here is that dealers are, they're on the hook for buying deals from the banks itself. A lot of dealers they function from strictly on debt, and they're really hand to mouth, a lot of them, especially the smaller car dealerships. And for subprime loans, they're on the hook now for 1 to 3 payments. So if you don't make that payment, they got to pay that recourse. So they're becoming which puts more strain on them, much more difficult for you as the buyer. So please, I know you might want the car out there, but just hold off a little bit till things start cooling down. These are a couple of things just be mindful of us when you go inside the car dealerships today to buy a car. And again, as I said before, having your ducks in order, and this is the main point of this whole channel. Having your ducks in order, getting your debt to income ratio, understanding credit is extremely important now more than ever. If this video has been any value to you, please subscribe, leave some comments. Until my next video, for Banks Credit Chat, I'm out.